So hello and welcome to the Data Explorers Market Update with me, Will Duff Gordon. So I feel like the poor relation here because I've been on holiday and Bika and Kerry have done a great job of doing the videos, and I'm sure you probably prefer watching them than boring old me, but I shall do my best to keep you entertained on the subject of South Africa, where I was lucky to have met many of the local securities lending and borrowing players in that market with a view to hopefully doing more business with them, and learned quite a lot about how the market works down there. And it was interesting to see that they had a rather good credit crunch in a sense, due to, in a part, things called exchange controls, which limited the amount of money that people in South Africa can invest overseas. So there's been no ban on short selling, and there's been no disclosure requirements on shorts. And generally, the FSB, their regulators, supposedly pretty happy with short selling and securities lending. The South African securities lending market is reckoned to be about half the size of Hong Kong's sort of on-loan balance, which is kind of reasonably significant actually. And one of the hot sectors at the moment is the construction sector, because clearly the last couple of years have been rich pickings with the World Cup coming on, all this infrastructure spending. But they're sort of running out of growth a little bit in steam, and on top of that, there are about 70 different investigations going on and accusations of price collusion and sort of the construction companies doling out the contracts as it suits them. So companies like Murray and Roberts, Aveng, Group 5 and Wilson Bayly Holmes are seeing some spikes in short interest. Short interest has come down again, implying that people think that the bad news is already in the price, and yet Wilson Bayly announced sort of disappointing earnings this week, so it's definitely worth watching the construction sector there. Another thing to look at is the company like Fountainhead Property, which has announced a bit of a rights issue, and short selling or stock on loan is at a sort of is at an all-time high there. The ETF market is not completely bypassing South Africa at all. It's interesting to see that this week HSBC launched a South African-focused ETF listed in London actually. And the local ones, ABSA, have a gold ETF. So if you have a view on the South African currency as well as the price of gold, rather than playing with the GLD listed in the States, you can play with the GLD listed in Johannesburg, the ABSA instrument. Stanlib, a big asset manager, they have two ETFs to enable people to play the top 40 index there, and that is about all of them at the moment, but probably more to come from this market. And now the big sort of regulatory news that could add an uplift to this market is the fact that they're hopeful that pension funds will soon be allowed to invest up to 10% of their assets in alternative investments. Currently it's 2.5%. And if that was to take place, that would be a huge influx of potential new money into hedge fund strategies, places like Coronation or the hedge funds within Old Mutual, Investec and Sanlam. So hopefully that will go through, because that would bode well for maybe greater volatility in this market and good for the securities lending market there. So once again, that is a quick wrap on South Africa. I had a great time there in Johannesburg yesterday, and hope you found this interesting. If you'd like to read the report, it is at dataexplorers.com/news.